Thankfully, that hasn't happened to me in a long time. But have you ever been taken down by back spasms? Maybe it's not even on the golf course. You're just bending over, twisting to grab something, and your back locks up on you. If you have experienced back spasms, it can be a debilitating experience. And it is terrible for golfers because there is no way you can even think about golfing. So what I'm going to share with you guys today is what causes back spasms, how to prevent them, and how to get back to playing your best golf. So first thing we need to realize is what actually causes back spasms. Spasm is typically your lower back muscles tightening up and seizing up because they're trying to protect your lower back from moving in ways that it is not supposed to. And I'll let you guys in on a little secret here. If your low back is in spasm, your back's not the problem, okay? The main problem is with other areas in your body that aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Namely, your hips, and you'll never guess this one, your trail shoulder. So typically your lead hip for a right-handed golfer, the left hip for a left-handed golfer, the right hip, and your trail shoulder. So right-handed for a right-handed golfer, left hand for the left-handed golfer. These are going to be the key areas to focus on because this is where you need to be able to rotate efficiently if you're going to have a golf swing that doesn't compensate in specific areas like your lower back. So the lead hip needs to be able to rotate at least 40 to 45 degrees. Your trail shoulder needs to rotate well past spine angle. If you don't know if those areas are up to snuff, go ahead, take the free home mobility assessment in the link in the description. This will tell you if these areas are restricted. They need to be able to rotate. They're non-negotiables. If this hip doesn't rotate and this shoulder doesn't externally rotate, then your back is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it's going to have to twist and bend and compensate in ways that it's not supposed to, and your lower back muscles are going to say, whoa, stop doing that right now, and that's when you get a spasm. So here's what we need to do. Number one, find out if your hips or shoulder are the problem. Take the home assessment test. If they are an issue, for the lead hip, we're going to locate what's called our TFL muscle, tensor fasciae lata. Below the belt line, you'll feel that bony spine of the pelvis. You feel that muscle, that bone, and when you sit, it's going to be your hip crease, okay? We are going to take a golf club. Everyone's got a golf club, okay? We're going to stick it right in that hip crease. And what you can also do is use your fingers and try and rotate your hip like this. You should feel this muscle popping out. That's where you're going to put the golf club, okay? I'm going to use a short club, take the wedge, and use my other hand and really drive it down in there. Use as much pressure as you can tolerate, and you're going to search for a spot that actually hurts, okay? If your hip's tight, you will definitely feel this, okay? Put as much pressure in there as you can tolerate and just hold it there. You want to kind of camp out there. Use this bottom hand to really pinpoint that trigger point, put some pressure on it. You're going to hold this for 30 to 60 seconds. If the pain actually refers into your lower back, you know you've hit the jackpot. You want to hold it on that spot as long as you can tolerate it and allow that sensation to ease off, okay? Once it does, you can maybe move this hip in and out a little bit, but we're going to do that for at least a minute on each side. Both this lead side, do your trail side as well, okay? Now, that is going to help improve your overall hip mobility for a short term. We also need to restore that range of motion. So what we're going to do is you can stay seated and take this foot wide and just work at rotating that hip inwards without actually letting your butt cheek lift off. So I'm training my hip to rotate without my lower back twisting. We don't want to see that twisting in the low back, so keep your butt cheek on the floor as you rotate that hip in, just like that. Once you've done that about 8 to 10 times, lift the foot up and just try and get this motion now. So you're actually holding the weight of the leg off the floor and rotating it out. Okay, you can do that again 8 to 10 times. So we're getting some movement in those hips. The next area we need to look at is your shoulder mobility. If you can't externally rotate your shoulder, okay, to try and shallow the club, you're going to end up side bending and twisting your spine in the downswing. And again, your lower back is not going to like that. So the muscles might put a brake on your lower back to stop doing that kind of motion. We can take a lacrosse ball. We're going to find what's called infraspinatus. So this muscle beneath the spine of the shoulder blade here. We're going to take the lacrosse ball. You can sit on the floor to do this. You can also lean against a wall, okay? I like to use this on the floor because I get a little more pressure. I put this under my armpit, and I'm just gonna slowly come down on that back of that shoulder blade and lean on top of this spot, okay? Again, I wanna find a spot where it's really uncomfortable. Relax this arm on the floor. I'm gonna bend that elbow 90 degrees, okay? You can support your head if you want, and we're just gonna pinpoint that trigger point. Once you do, we're going to slowly rotate that arm in and out like that, okay? Finding those trigger points and getting some motion in the shoulder is going to be key. Just like that, letting that arm work down towards the floor, trying to bring either the thumb or the back of the wrist towards the floor. That's going to help improve that external rotation in your shoulder. You can do about a minute on both shoulders, okay? If you're short on time, just do your trail shoulder. And then what we're going to try and do is take the golf club, place it just above your elbow with the shaft, bend your elbow 90 degrees. I'm going to use this bottom hand here. I've got this elbow directly in front of my armpit. We're going to use the bottom hand to externally rotate that shoulder. So I'm assisting myself into this range, hold it there. I can take my hand here, gently press into the grip and hold that position. Take a deep breath in. And then when I exhale, I'm just going to relax, and I should be able to get a little bit further here. Again, you might start here. It could be really tight here. If you notice you're arching your back or you're wanting to move, really keep this core stable. And we're trying to get these areas that are rotating. You think of the shoulder and the hip as ball and socket joints. They should be very mobile. If they're not, your lower back, which is supposed to be stable, ends up giving up its stability and moving too much. That's why your back goes into spasm, to try and prevent excess motion. So restore mobility to areas like your shoulder and hip that need the mobility. So you can do that again about 6 to 10 times, pressing into the shaft with the grip end of the club and then releasing, getting full range of motion. You can do both sides. So again, to reiterate, if your back is going into spasm, the problem is not your lower back. It's an area somewhere else that's not doing what it's supposed to do in terms of rotation, and then your lower back ends up twisting and bending in ways that it's not supposed to. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel. That really, really helps us out, and I will see you guys in the next one.